What up, everybody? I was going to give myself 30 seconds more to wipe my brow, but I'm here. Hello. I think we'll talk about some V words today and perhaps reorganize the way this show is set up. I don't know. We'll see if I can. It is a dilemma sometimes due to using a phone rather than a PC. So we'll see if I'm able to do this in the next couple days. I can set the screen up a little different because I've remonetized my videos. I need to. It has to be done. At least for a little while. So how is everybody? I'm Zen. You're over there. We will wait as usual, maybe 2, 3 more minutes here, and we'll talk about a bunch of V words: values, virtues, vagabonds, vultures, vampires, vagrants, vacant. I don't know, a bunch of them. We'll consider these ideas. Maybe we'll talk about Venus too. Venus must be in retrograde. I'm assuming if everything else is, because it seems that everything is just the fall of man, the fall of the year. It's always some nonsense. I'm like, oh no, this year it'll be fine. It'll be good. No, nope. Some wild nonsense. But we're working on that. Let's put some effort in there, despite the fact that Mercury retrograde has been doing everything. I don't. I you know you can believe in the planets and the movement of these stars. You can believe in or not or astrology, but you cannot deny that there isn't some weird happenstance that every time somebody says Mercury's in retrograde, you damn well know that there's going to be major league confusion and inability to communicate properly. Despite even if you're really good at it, if you're like capable at using language to convey messages to people, even if you are, they can't quite hear you, or the person you're talking to doesn't know how to communicate. So there's some decoding or something that's happening in the general schema scheme of things. It always happens. Okay. And they always the people tell you never sign, don't do any contract work during Mercury retrograde. It always is a bumbling, stumbling. It's always a mess. Now, interestingly, I've always found very interesting is people that are really into scientism, and they're into the stock market and into all of these. They're very pragmatic humans. Understandable. It's easy to understand why. As I hit a cue ball, it hits the red ball and the ball goes in the pocket. We can make some assessments here as to there seems to be some linear process of how things occur. And that there's no way that those things out there are having any effect on reality. I can understand why you think that. But if you were to go to listen to, say, one of the richest men in the world, who will just come out right and say it, he said, millionaires don't use astrology. Billionaires do. I mean, it, that's quite a bit of chunkiness for someone to come out and just say that. His name is Warren Buffett. You know who Warren Buffett is? Talked about it before. Sure you're familiar. I wonder what he does on a daily basis. Billions and billions of dollars. Just what is he doing? Just like, hey, that's Warren Buffett. Comes in the room, he's just like, and he only carries around a few $100s. He doesn't have. He's got an old phone. Doesn't use the internet too much. It just looks like the old guy that you'd see walking around, uh, chilling at a park, playing with animals. Looks like that kind of guy. But seems to know something about investments and stock portfolios and 501ks and 401 blues. Wait, is it backwards? 401ks and 501 blues. So jeans, like the jean company. Anyways, and I've been considering these V words. What's up, muffin? What's up? Yeah, I know. I don't know that I'd smell well today. Probably not. I've been just sitting in bed being a depressive. It's pretty awesome. Pretty much the best thing ever. Probably probably smell like I still smell like a diaper from the other day. So yes, as I was uh trying to hone in onto a couple of V words, it always comes up with this idea of value and virtues and virtual realities and virtuousness. It's always interesting to me because I wonder because I look at people that seem to have an okay go about this situation, this life thing, and what they hold to be virtuous, what they have as ethics and morals. Um, I would say, pretty much standard protocol for humans and what people find to be and deem important. However, there's a couple key things that I wonder how they spend the majority of time a day doing things that I think if they understood the complete picture of what they do, they would not find any virtue in it and they wouldn't want to do it. For example, um, who really wants to own a McDonald's? Who really wants to sell crack to their community? Who really wants to, uh, be a pharmaceutical rep? If you knew the extent of the damage and harm you do to the health of the world, you would not even think about touching it. You wouldn't even think about participating in that. Like, what would you participate in that would be like the least harm and that you'd enjoy? Because you gotta have joy doing what you're doing. Is it somewhere in between like making a good deal of money so you have a you know be comfortable, of course, and there's not going to be any way of getting through this life unscathed or not causing any harm. So this is an obvious point, but most things I'm like, what would it goes back to what would what would you do if you had your druthers and everything was equal equal in you made equal pay? What would you do? I know what I would do. I would do something along the lines of what I'm already doing, teaching things. Why, you might ask? Because then it gives you an option to either take or add to. You can take the thing that I said and go, that sounds good. That's face value. I like that. I'm gonna do that. That might help my life. Or you can make an appropriate adjustment to the things that I might say. You might. Whereas other things, you kind of it's already part of the product or the service that you're selling. That is, let's say a product. What products are out there? Walk through a grocery store, pharmaceutical company, and what's really not going to be a great deal of poisoned? You would work at. I mean, you think you could really work at a water treatment plant and put fluoride in the water, knowing damn well what it does, and at what cost? What would your paycheck be? Use it a different way. How much money would you have to pay me to poison the population's water supply? Like legit. Like you'd be like, all right, everyone in this community, everybody in this neighborhood, everybody in this county, this state, whatever. We're gonna listen to your recommendations, and you're gonna go ahead and put that into the water, and we'll pay you a good deal of money to do it. What would it take? But I would know exactly what it does. I would know that what kind of poison it is. Would I do it? Oh, they say everybody has a cost. Would you have a cost to do that? So, getting into this, what would you do to serve your own, virtues, to feel okay about what you're doing, to feel comfortable with yourself in your own skin, while still having the a general degree of creature comforts, and not having to, the idea of more money, more problems. No, not really. More money, different problems. And if you just don't make it known that you have money, well, you might not have those problems. But nonetheless, so let's just say you make enough money where you have what is called FU money. Just like whatever, it doesn't. There's nothing you could add, because there's nothing you could add to what I'm doing here. Like if you had that kind of money, what would you like? What would it be? That way, because if you're making, let's say you're living paycheck to paycheck, you do not have FU money. In fact, what you have is, like, if somebody were to offer you, like, all right, you make $50,000 a year, you're barely scraping by. But here, I have a job that I'll give you, and it'll pay you $500,000 a year. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna magnify your income by 10 times. Work the same amount of time, but maybe doing something that you'd rather not participate in. What would you do? Would you accept that? Yeah, curiosity. How's everybody doing? Doesn't seem like there's too many people here today. Could be Mercury retrograde. Could be the time of day. Could be that it's what is it, Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Let me turn this down so I can keep some charge on here. It is Wednesday, the 21st, I believe, of September. And here, I got a couple things to throw in the mix. I hope you all have at least a little bit of mentality to have been somewhat prepared for anything the Simpsons might say, or anything that you might see on TV that kind of gives you how there's always predictive programming. Now, you understand how that works. They're not pre- they're not predicting the future as in, like, hey, there's two people over here, I've never seen them before, and I'm going to gamble on they're playing ultimate frisbee. I don't know, whatever okay, two people playing basketball. I've never seen them before, and I'm just going to lay a bet down. No, no, no. That's not what predictive programming is. Predictive programming is, I'm writing a screenplay, and we just got to put that together and make that happen. That's what's happening. That's what that is. It's not like, oh my gosh, they can see the future. How did they know? I mean, if they're implementing it, then of course they know. If you put together a business model and you stick to it, of course you know. So, as I'm saying this, I would suggest, and I say The Simpsons because they're usually pretty right on a bunch of things, right? And they've been pretty close on a lot of dates, if not completely accurate, which is crazy, right? But there's other lines of communication in media that says that the 24th, which is in 3 days, Saturday. What is it? Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. It's also another major date in a different calendar. So you get the I believe there's, yeah, don't quote me on it, but like there's like the Jewish Hebrew calendar, and there's like another one that is quite interesting, and they both use that date of September 24th this year. I don't know if it changes from year to year. I'm not very familiar with the calendars, but I know those calendars mean something. Calendars comes from the words that mean tax collectors. Calends, calends, the tax collectors. Um, and so that doesn't just mean some guy that's getting money from someone. It just means the currency or energy of the universe, right? Um, and it could be in any way. And what is said to which is supposed to happen this day is on the 24th would be um, with the EMP, electromagnetic pulses. I mean, everything is lined up for it. Hasn't everyone been telling you? What have these these people have been giving you this information really been wrong about so far? Not too much. I mean, what's the difference between somebody telling you something and becoming fact? Oh, just a few months. Just give it a second. You'll see. Hey, you might be off by a week. You might be off by a little bit, but it comes to fruition because people are implementing it. So we got this. What's happening? So oh, I had. You know what I had? I had a dream last night that your boy, Donald Trumpy was put back in office. It was very vivid, very vivid. But I was having a conversation, and they were saying because it was they were saying it was the midterm stuff going on, which doesn't matter because dude's gonna be there for 4 years. That's how that works. But I was like, isn't that supposed to be every 4 years? Like, no, they put him back in office. It was really strange, which might just mean that your girl, Camel Toe Harris, is going to be put on. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But it's just a little weird dream that I had. Nonetheless, there's between rivers going on and the wars of the world, as H.G. Wells. The whole that whatever's going on with that, and then all the other animal names with like some sort of disease happening. So there's a bunch of things going on right now that are quite like to me hilarious because it's so obviously like some it's other than organic. Put it that way. It's New Year's in the Southern Hemisphere. Well, that would make sense, right? I mean, if you understand where that solar object in the sky, if it is right there and it's not a reflection out of something, like either outside of a realm or if it's from the middle of the realm casting up and hitting that, who knows what it is doing. But if we look at it and where it is, it's yeah. I mean, and the trick of the new year always, right, was with April 1st, April Fool's Day being the actual new year, not January 1st. And obviously it depends on where you are. Because if it's inside, closer to the southern or the northern and southern hemisphere, it's gonna be cold when it's hot here, and it's gonna be hot when it's cold there. And of course, it would be. That's why I've made it clear about the taking on the whole idea of the mushroom cult of of uh, of Santa and where that comes from. When you get up into the northern regions of Russia, and you find all of these, the shamans. It's shaman clause. It's an idea of Satan. And I broke that down 1,000 times for you guys. I'm not gonna do the whole thing right now, but nonetheless, it has to do with the mushroom cults that were in the northern Russian region where coniferous trees grow. So if coniferous trees don't grow where you live, that's probably not what you should be celebrating. It has to do with different types of these celebrations were done locally, and the religions were done locally out of psychedelics usually. There are a lot of psychedelic mushroom cults, and others were cactus, others were like a toad. I mean, some of these ideas, it's not just like that became part of uh, the whole light on top of the Christmas tree is equivalent to your pineal gland. The whole getting coal is having going into the underbelly or under regions. Having a bad go about it. I mean, there's so much there. I mean, there's plenty of books you could look up on that. John Allegro, I believe, the Holy Cross and the Holy Mushroom and the Cross and the Holy Mushroom, and a few others that have done plenty of work on those cultures. So if you live in different regions, you should be just celebrating slightly different. It's a similar thing that you'd be celebrating, but you'd be celebrating at a different time of year because obviously things grow when it's certain temperatures. What's up, Colin? What you doing? Hey, Colin. Oh, thanks for the duckets too, man. I know I heard it. I also listened to the rest of it, and when you listen to it as a whole entirety, um, it's not really, it's not as, mm, it's not as fear-inducing. But the fact that it even was said, kind of, he goes, well, you might want to pay attention a little bit. And the fact that it's popping up right now is some sort of thing. You might pay attention. So if there is any type of electromagnetic pulse or whatever and takes out shit, I mean, again, this goes back to what, like, you know, the preppers for end times, all this. All it means is, man, like, be somewhere where it's where you're going to be comfortable, where you have water, where you have food, where you know how to fast. You don't want to be in cold climates unless you have wood, unless you're using fireplaces. I mean, that's what it means. I mean, just being, having that kind of preparation. But if I mean, what happens again? Just as a run through this real quick. Who's carrying cash around? And even if you were, like, where are you getting stuff? Once you get rid, if you down the computer system somehow, everything goes to haywire. Everything gets backed up by a long time, even if it's out for only a few days. If you did to the entire system, like the worldwide or just here, just you would whatever is going on with hyperinflation and the stock market. I mean, you crush the stock market because you can't. No one's who's trading on it. How you can do that? They got that. Hopefully, they got their backup generators and everything else. Or is they going to put those out too? What about all the money you got in banks? What if it fries those servers, man? You don't know that can't happen because it has happened. It does happen. So how are you buying things? You know, and you should have an understanding. I mean, I always make sure that to explain to people, know how to fast, know how to drink a piss. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you're comfortable doing that, it makes everyone else's chaos, because if people don't have access, I always use as an example. I mean, living in New Orleans, last year I got to deal with an awesome hurricane. 10 days basically without power. Right around the fifth or sixth day, it got a little dicey, man. Got quite dicey, because now all of the places that were giving away their food for free, which is great because everybody comes here together as a community. The taps are about to go. The taps are going to be warm. We got to drink the beer. Here, the food's going to go bad anyways. We'll cook for you guys, whatever. But then once that's out, that's out. And then what? And then right about that time, it got kind of dicey. No fuel coming in. People acting a fool, breaking in places, robbing, stealing. What do you think would happen? Like here, it takes longer. How quickly do you think that would happen in major cities that don't deal with this? Major cities that deal with, like, brownouts or whatever for like 6 hours, they're already freaking out. If they had to do it for 3 4 days, they lose their shit. And so it's just a matter of going, okay, well, everybody else is going crazy. I'm good. Make sure you got some water. Enjoy a couple books. Learn to chill out. Take your shoes off. Climb a tree. Who knows? Colin, why? I mean, why would you specifically be screwed, right? I thought you already kind of off grid ish. I thought you were. I mean, for people that have a lot of money in any kind of any kind of investment accounts, stocks, The whole cryptocurrency. You can only have so much like reliance on that. Not like all that needs to be done is a server needs to get fried, which is what an EMP would do. And here's the thing is, even even if it really didn't get fried, they could just say it did. They just hit a button and delete your bank account, delete everything. It's that simple. I don't know why people don't get this. And then they could keep other people's accounts, in the clear. So that way, when they start the system back up, you think a billionaire is just not going to be a billionaire afterwards? They got to have stop losses for that. And even if it were to happen, because there was like a real deal, like somebody was like, "Oh, it's a real war," or whatever. They're not all on the same team. They all have enough real estate and property and food and bunker and all that. They just chill out. What do they got to do? They already have their houses built, backup generators, this and that. Mm. But I hear you. You said you felt like you're just here to let go of as many attachments. What's up, creating? Have I drank alcohol while fasting from food? Give yourself a guess. Funny enough, I haven't really. I had like you realize that I feast and I fast. So I didn't drink for like 3 days. Um, and I only had a little bit to eat. Sometimes I fast on water. Sometimes I fast just on juice. Sometimes I fast on alcohol. It's very dependent for me. Um, I know people that have fasted many times on juice, on iced tea, on tea, on uh, any kind of liquid, and every one of them that when they add alcohol, they tend to it becomes an easier process, and it becomes at least from my point, definitely more cleansative. I wouldn't suggest doing too much because again, you'll dehydrate yourself. But I mean, I use vodka, and a lot of times if I'm not feeling like if I go out and eat a bunch of garbage, which I do frequently, which I tell people don't do because do as I tell you to do, don't do as I do. But then I'm just like feeling it, like I'm just feeling clogged up, and I go and drink some vodka, a beer. It cleans. It literally what I do. I take a dump, cleans out my system, get those little things like arthritic or whatever. They go away. The whole thing. Yeah. But I mean, I could equally do lemon juice. I could equally do another acidic fruit. I could, you know, I happen to enjoy it. It doesn't make me like people they drink and then as soon as they're drunk they want to go eat all the nasty fried foods and shit. I don't have that. I don't. I'm not affected like that. What up, just Frank? You got backup pudding? I've never done that fast. I've never done. I have fasted from it. Yeah, but creating a new universe. Yeah, the move is have a beer, see what it does. I don't know. What do you like? I wouldn't consume any red wines with sulfites. I wouldn't consume dark liquor. I would consume cleansative things, beers, white wines. You can do maybe a kombucha drink. Could you feel the tree? Was that the thing? You were just like, uh huh, uh huh. That's Grandpa. And then his brother's right over there. That one's a goofy one. Ha ha. Hey, just it's a short fast. Ha ha ha. Can you? Where's the rim shot for that one? Pinot Grigio with the fast. Yeah, that'd work. I mean, also, how long are you going to fast for? If you're going to fast for any extended period of time, um, again, fasting is you got to make these qualifiers for people. If I say fasting, I generally mean water, but you can fast on juice. You could fast on potatoes. You could fast on meat. Like it just means to do one thing. But essentially, when people say fasting, they mean water, or you could say a liquid fast. Liquid fast can be just as good because you're getting other types of nutrition in you, and it can be in fact it can be more cleansative. A lot of the teachers I've known always say that some people have a really hard time on a juice fast because it is so cleansing, and it can overwhelm the system. So especially if you're using um, lots of lemons and things like this, you can clog up the system a little bit, get back up some places. So I mean, it depends on how long you're fasting for. But I don't. I mean, I've probably done a week fast on juice, water, piss, beer, vodka. I've done maybe 2 weeks on just piss, like just piss and some water. Because when I first started doing it, it was like first time. See, the first time I do a fast, I'm committed to doing it. I had never, I drank piss before. I definitely harvested my own water. But the first time I did a fast on water, I did 43 days. The first time I did fast on piss, it was 10 to 14 days. I forget. But because I did it on, I was already kind of, not feeling it. Like I was already like, just backed up, ate too much shit. So I needed to add a little more water for the first few days of a urine fast. It's funny, a lot of people talk also about hydration. Um, water water can be the least hydrating, which is kind of true. You understand? By putting salt into your water, or anything, any mineral really for that matter, it's going to hold on to water. So your body's going to hold on to more water. Where if you're doing a distilled water fast, it's literally grabbing things in the body and going, let's remove this. It goes into your intestines, and you take it out, and then the leftover good pee out, right? So hydrating and staying, extra water weight. I would do water with a little bit of fruit juice in it. A little bit of fruit juice. Ooh, cranberry juice and tater tots. Um, That's actually. I mean, you might be joking, but that's a good idea. Potatoes are a blood cleanser, especially if you use um, what kind of potatoes? The there's yams and they're slightly different, and the one's a little better than the other. But use a yam or the other dark potato, sweet potato, I guess. Um, and those are even better for detoxifying the blood. And the cranberry juice is obviously going to be good for what, your kidneys? Your kidneys? Yeah, for real. Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. I mean, also that's a ridiculous diet. I mean, what do you think? What do you think people in the potato famine in Ireland were consuming? Like quite literally potatoes and butter that they had buried and alcohol that they made. Farmhouse ales. Farmhouse ales. Um, yep. Well, they were using. I don't think that. I don't know. I haven't done the research, but I doubt they were using the sweet potatoes, as I think that's either Spanish originations or Mexico. I don't know which direction that went. So a friend of mine was just saying that they were a facilitating a well, they've been doing so much stuff online, and they haven't done any in person training recently, and they're just like, oh my god, I haven't done in person training in so many years. And sometimes I think about that, like everyone that I talk to on here, if you were like sitting here and I was doing that like fucking Swami Guru, uh, whatever bullshit, I'm just like, here, I will teach you. Like what that space would feel like. I don't know. Large groups of people are interesting. You couldn't. I would need multiple. I would need multiple different ethnicities there because large groups of white people make me nervous. Uh, you're legit 2 inches taller. You know that's funny. I don't measure myself, but there are times where I can show you a picture of me where I was on a fast and I'm standing next to a friend of mine who is question, and I know for a fact she's 6'3", if not 6'4", and I'm 5'11" on a good day. And there's a picture of me standing next to him, and I know we're both in sandals because I know where we were. And I'm a solid 2 inches taller than him. So either he got 4 inches shorter and I got 2 inches taller, or I don't know, or I got it made no sense. It's like sometimes I've been around people and it's like I think I'm way taller than I was yesterday. Maybe not yesterday, but certainly throughout a day you do shrink by what, like 3/4 of an inch. So if you really look at it, you do any what inversion table work, and if you're fasting and rehydrating yourself during that, I mean, I don't see why you couldn't get 2 inches taller. I mean, if every vertebrae in your spine is compressed down to, let's say, a 16th of an inch, and you were to push that vertebrae out to even an eighth of an inch, I mean, you got 33 vertebrae. You do this, 32 connection points, minus the tau. I mean, whatever. So you got 30 points of adding a 16th of an inch. It's almost 2 inches right there. For 2 weeks after a fast, you can dunk like Jordan. uh, Oddly enough, when I was, how old was I? Okay, when I played in college and in high school, I could dunk, and then I put on some weight, and my game was just a little different, and I couldn't dunk for maybe 10 years, and I was like 30, 32, maybe, and I went on a fruit juice fast, and I was on day like 5, and out of nowhere I could jump an almost two-hand dunk again, like out of nowhere. That was pretty crazy. Basketballs. Oh man, it's a warm one today. I don't know where to go. I guess this is good enough. It's like 92, I think. It's like 90 in the shade, really. Oh, and as we were talking about this 24th, which might be a dilemma, uh, there's also I mean, I don't know who this affects. I don't know who lives down there. Have you paid attention to the weather? Well, we haven't had any hurricanes here, and it was supposed to be a really bad season. Um, and there's a pretty interestingly large storm. It's about a week out, which could develop into something catastrophic, or it just will be like every other one that just kind of goes dissipates, which would be held to the no if it was bad, like, and it was right after an EMP and then a hurricane. Oh man, I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I would leave or not, because I said I would not leave for any reason. But if it was back to back like that from an EMP where there's no power, no nothing, to then hit by the hurricane as soon as anything was about to get back in order, I don't know. Wasn't that? I mean, just Frank, ain't that the whole movie though? The whole movie, White Chicks or whatever. Was it White Chicks or what was the movie? I don't know. Was it? No, it wasn't White Chicks. That's so funny. They played the Wayans brothers. They played in two movies where they got dressed up. I mean, they loved getting dressed up as women. So whatever, whatever. What was the one that they played in that was WNBA one? I mean, you gotta really assume how many of those chicks are really actually dudes. Quite a number of them. You think they're just trannies? Like where they kept their genital, they kept their wee wee and put some fake boobies in. You think it's that? I would think a good number of them are definitely that. I mean, there's got to be some that are actual women. I don't doubt that. Let me oh man, my dude's got a soccer ball over here. Kick it over here, man. You said 25%. Are you saying 25% are full on trans, or are you saying 25% are women? I would go with 25% women, like actual women. Yeah, because there's some of them that are like not they're not like overly. I mean, I've met chicks that are 6 foot, 2, 6 foot 3, and they did. I mean, they were certainly women. There's definitely some, but there are some chicks that I know, like from college that played at D1 university that were nice, and definitely were chicks. And I'm pretty sure I played with a couple chicks that went. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went to the NBA, the WNBA. And they were like, I mean, to tell you how you watch it and you're like, it's not that good, but I'm telling you, dude, I played like at some D3, D3 pickup spots where you'd play against collegiate men, and there was a couple chicks that could run, that were super decent. Well, I mean, isn't it? Wouldn't that be a? Most people are okay. I mean, there's the question. Okay, you're not going to make it to the Euro League. You're not making it to any league that you're going to make any type of impact. You make no money. You're not good enough. But you're definitely good enough where you could make six figures playing women's hoops. And all you got to do is put this outfit on. You don't even got to cut off your thingy. We can give you you can keep that if you want it. I'll bet you. I bet you how many dudes took that offer. This is why I got to change the format of these shows. I have to somehow put a time limit on these. So that way, I mean, I don't mind going down these rabbit holes with you guys because it's hilarious. But I want to try to at least keep the talk shorter, where that way when other people find my channel, they're not like, oh, I don't feel like listening to an hour and a half of this dude. Where a half an hour is acceptable, right? What did you say? Those who can't play coach. Yeah, or they get a sex change, or they just play for the other team. And while I agree with those who can't play, those who can't do teach, those that can't play coach. Yeah, I mean that only works to an extent because I mean, how many coaches used to play? It just means they're past their peak. They primed. They're done. Let me teach you the shit I know. So I mean that used to be a lot more. That used to be a lot more real. If you look at coaches from football, from basketball, look at coaches from the 80s and 90s. What percentage of them were any good or played? I mean, we're talking about dudes that never probably played basketball. They just had an idea. Kind of like that dude, some dude used to coach a baseball team who did it all with mathematics, like that. But now these days, now most of the people that are coaching used to be players. Ouch. Chronic digressor. Yeah, right. Nah, man, it's I go from I don't know. Sometimes yes. Sometimes I do go into regression, to digress, to be depressed. But other times, no, 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 making leaps and bounds into better things. Chronic digressor. But I digress. You say it like that because I say, but I digress. Yeah, digression is different than regression, right? Where are we at? It's 3 o'clock and 48 minutes in here. Yeah, I'll stick on here for a couple more minutes and then just start another show. Like I said, unless when people show up, but at least it'll give me enough time to go take a piss and do some internet research into I don't know whatever the hell's going on in the world these days. I think we covered the major things. I think the 24th should be at least pay attention a little bit. Um, we got the Yosemite thing that's supposed to happen. You got mm, that Golden State Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge. Excuse me. You got the fault there. You got Lake Mead. You got another thing that just dried up. You got some crazy heat happening overseas. Oh, you know what I wanted to talk about? I want to talk about I want to talk about uh, the masky thing that the women are wearing in the Muslim places, right? I don't know if you've seen the news. It started taking them off, and then some woman got like beat up and killed or something. Now again, I don't this it looked kind of to be true, and those countries are kind of vile like that. And then all the women they came together and like, burn all uh, the hijab, burn the headpieces, da da da. And I find it slightly ironic, wouldn't you say, that half of them are fighting to take those things off while simultaneously wearing a 3M thing because they're still under the guise that that thing is. So it's like, we want to take off this. Do you understand what I'm saying? We're taking off this religious signifier of a mask to put on a signifier of another religion, which is called scientism. And I find that highly ironic. I mean, it'd be hard for most people to get at first glance, but I find it to be quite humorous. We're gonna fight to take these off, but everyone else, and you know what? And the funnier part is, people in the states, people over the world are congratulating, cheering this on, like, yeah, we're with you, go woman, blah blah blah, which is great, and I get it, good job, great. But they're the same exact people that are fighting to tell people that uh want body autonomy and not to catch the to get stabbed, to where that they need to put a mask on and they need to go get stabbed, and they're trying, but in this case they're okay with it. That's insanity. Wouldn't you say? Does that not ring a some sort of bell the truth? I mean, it's to me it's an obvious ploy. It's an obvious part of the thing. It's not some organic, oh, okay, all of these hundreds of years, and now this is do you know how many women have been beat down, tortured, and all of that? Like, horrible. I get it. Yep. I'm just saying. So this has been going on for a long time. But now, during this whole thing, with the whole world being told to put masks on, we're trying to unmask that religion, only to have them put new masks on with a different symbology and different symbolism. A burqa hijab. Yeah, due to a nun fetish. Well, nuns never wear that. Right? Then, unless you're thinking of a different nun. None of them wore that. I mean, I think anybody that wears well, I mean, okay, let's go a step further here. A habit, hijab. I got you. I got you. Okay, take it a step further on the nun fetish, and this is real because psychologically, there's some sort of thing where people like some sort of order or authority or a dominator, right? Think about it. What do women? You look at all of the cultural things in America, and you could probably say this anywhere in the world, really. A man in a suit, a tie, he looks like an authority figure. A man in an army thing, and he's in the Marines. He's wearing that. He's wearing the thing, and that becomes, oh, that's sexy. I mean, I get why on another level. I think I know why women find it sexy, but I mean, isn't that something to do with fetishizing dominator submissive complex? I would say so. I don't see how it would be any different. That person's killing and protecting. That person is a figurehead of something that stands for some greater power. Somebody that's in the army is a powerful dude. Lifts up a lot of weights. He's got ammunition. He protects things. He kills things. Whatever. And you got this somebody within any type of religious faction that wears any kind of garb or suit, or if you're wearing, you got that nice big fat gold tie on with the blue blazer and the it's like something. Uh, uh, Scotsman wears skirt. Well, getting the Scots from wearing skirts, that has to do with what the Alan Watts did a big breakdown on that. I don't want to do that all here, but he did a breakdown on why the kimono and all of the ways that the warriors would dress, and you know, what did he get into, like prosciutto and Japan and all these, like, why would they dress like that? Because it looks like they're wearing skirts. It looks like it's because that's how a man should dress. There's no reason for a man to put pants on, because if it goes up into your crotch, where does your balls and dick go? Where a woman should wear that because she doesn't have anything there. A man should be wearing a kilt or a dress or something, a kimono. I don't know if that's the right word. Excuse me if it's not the right one. And women in Islam wear the garb of modesty. Well, that's some people's belief. Other people say they wear it out of the idea that they're protecting themselves, and anyone that's seeing them wearing that should be protecting them from things. It's listed as modesty. It shows a function that they're in. Now again, I've not studied that deep to qualify either of those. I didn't live in or understand that culture, but I mean, to me, I think it's the same as saying Christians or Catholics believe something. No, there's a million different things that Christians and Catholics believe, just like every other faction of religion. Because there's how many different denominations. They all just twist and change. And hey, anything they don't like here. I think we're gonna this chapter we're gonna say means this. And then all of a sudden we're a different faction. We believe 90% of it, but this 10%. And then somebody goes, but we know the truth. A Malaysian Muslim. Yeah, the modesty thing. See, that's what I'm getting at. Is that could have been what her father told her, because he wanted to subdue her. Right? So you have a lot of patriarchal. You know, this is mine. I own it. I got it for the different types of cultures. You have progressive. You have ones that are rated to a T. And there's tons of different ways to decode these religions, and they're gonna. It's all over the map. It's like, how about just everybody burn your books, get rid of your religions, and deceive you. Be a human. Let's see how that works. To cover the hair and breasts for modesty. Yeah. You should, yeah. The pasture has a nice rack. Yeah, I hear you. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but what I'm getting at is she was taught that through the same religious indoctrination. Like, whoever told her that, maybe that's not the original reason why. Is what I'm saying. And you could find other factions that would say it is for a wildly different reason. I don't know. It's like, why do people in why do they wear the magic underwear? Why do these people wear the stupid hats? Why do these people, how many different hats? Didn't George Carlin break this down? If your religion involves wearing a stupid hat, you might want to, any type of club that requires certain hats. Yeah. The reason is not a bad one. Oh, the modesty thing? Well, I don't know, man. Um, then why shouldn't a man be modest? I don't know. It's to me it reeks of um. Imagine me saying this. It reeks of the patriarchy. You know what I mean? You stay modest. Let me be like this. Let me. there's a type of way to take away someone's power. There's also, obviously slutty prostitution going the other direction, which is chicks just walking around with their tits hanging out. But then you could go as far as and say, well, in tribes, these chicks ain't even wearing tops, and they look at the women differently. Where if you're at a beach, you can wear a bikini, but it would be weird if you wore a. You could be naked at a beach, basically. You can wear a bikini, but you can't wear underwear anywhere else. Hi, puppy. Somebody. Yeah, I like looking at women, but sometimes to leave something to the imagination. I get you. I get you. But okay, well, you gonna leave the whole thing too? You're just gonna you just look at her eyes and just talks all nice. And then when you take off her whole garb and like one titty's hanging to the floor, the other one's like I don't know, like and her face is all crooked. Like I mean, well, the beauty's only skin deep, and it should be the person's spirit and soul. Yeah, okay, right. Because that's how the rest of nature works. That's why peacocks are peacocks. That's why an orange. I want to eat the orange that looks right, that isn't fucking got rots all over it and all falling apart. There's quite a coordination between mental and physical health. Mental and physical, like how someone holds themselves, is how they'll develop. Is there's a lot more there to unpack. I think. I mean, I hear what you're saying though. Like, don't be, that's what I was getting at. Is like, I'm not for being, the idea of. I don't like the idea of strip clubs really. I think they should exist. I don't prefer them. I think wear whatever the hell you want on a beach, but like in public, I don't know. Just seems like a reasonable thing not to be, not to be a prostitute. She don't date mutants. Well, I guess me and you would never date. I have mutated. Yeah, that is funny. Well, isn't that what I mean? How many years you been online doing things? That used to be the move. You would be like, "Hey, what's up? You seem cool." And then you would meet. You just kind of go, "Oh, we'll just give it a shot." Meet in public. And now it's like, well, what's the whole joke? 20 years ago, like don't ever talk to strangers online. Now it's like the only way you can date someone is a stranger online. Trying to talk to somebody in person is like it's a whole charade. It's like they're like, ew, what are you're weird, don't talk to me. But like if I click like on your photos, they're all shiny and happy. Like the whole dating off of Tinder kind of thing. Interesting. I think I've had two good solid dates, but they both had glaring red flags. I mean, when I say dates, I mean I dated them for a while. That's some kind of. I was just like, eh. They all severely catfish on there. Ha 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 ha. You gotta go on to J date and farmers only, and you take a profile from J date and hook it up with someone on farmers only or like Christian Mingle and J date or something, and you switch a couple things in there and you link these two people up until they're like, what the fuck? I thought you was. That would be funny. Well, let me let me go take this peepee or give this peepee or whatever. Oh, I've not said it, but anybody want to, feel free. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. That always helps out. It's usually on the bottom of the screen. I don't know why it isn't there. I don't know where it went to. But there it is. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You see it. That's cool. And remember, there's always these rules in life. One is to be weird, be cool, be funky. Um, yeah, man. All right, just Frank. Me too. I'm about to get out of here too. I'm about to go grab myself some PP time. Oh yes, hit like and subscribe and all of these good things. And what are the three rules? Yeah, be weird, be yourself because everybody else is already taken. Share when you can, and if it's with me, that's great. If it's with somebody else, go for it. And third rule is we'll give you a different rule today. Go hug a tree or something. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day. I'll probably be back on in half an hour or so. Should probably charge my phone a little bit. So yeah, give me like 4 o'clock. Bye guys. Toodles. Yes, any donations over $10 will make you happy, and it'll help me too. It'll keep me off the streets. You don't want to see me on the streets. Well, on the streets now you'll be fine. But bye guys.